2001 Toyota Land Cruiser. Now, ambient temperature is rather cool right now. Our 70 degrees is being taken right here by the thermistor that's right out here, taking in the outside air. 221 psi. Why do we have 221 psi? I did say 2001 Land Cruiser, so I have the doors, windows open. I have the back. This has rear AC. So when you have rear AC, the other evaporator is located right here. Here's your inlet right there. You got outlets up there. You got two little smaller ones up there going under the vehicle. Here is your lines coming in from the bottom. There's your drip tube for water. And they were complaining that, that's not it. The water is coming in on the feet. And we all know what this is. And it's really cold on my face. It's nice and cold. And this is where the port for the case and the water goes, and it drains out right there. And so in theory, it's not draining out right there. Now if you look, here's my finger, right above my fingernail, right on the tip, that's the opening for the drain that we've seen on the inside where the water should be coming out. See if I could focus, come on camera, focus. I don't know if you could see the opening of that little rubber tube there, but that's where the water should be coming out. So I started it out to make some water. As you can see, I already have a blowgun here, and I put it down, and I got it down in that hole, and I blew to unclog, if there is a clog down there. But all that means is there's debris in there. See? And it could pour back with the vibration of the car and water. It'll come back down and it clog it back up. But if it stops right now and it starts pouring out of there, the really only correctly right way to clean that out, if it's large physical debris, is taking the case apart and cleaning it out. As you can see, they had a rat problem here. So they could have had a rat problem eating away at stuff on the inside, and there's debris like this from being parked under a tree, clogging everything. You see he put Irish Spring under here for the smell to keep the rat away. And so there's issues going on that might be interrelated. Rat, and this vehicle is used for animals or something. It goes to the woods. It's a camping vehicle or something. I could tell that just by all the wood chippings and pieces of grass in there, and hair and stuff like that, and the smell. And so we're going to look for a problem on this one. So this gets used heavily. And it gets used what it's for. It's a truck. It's supposed to be used for work. And now, just touching this line, I can't hold my fingers on there too long. I could take some heat. Most people would pull their fingers back a lot faster than I would. Our temperature has dropped because our pressure has dropped. I could hear our clutch, our fan kicking. Let's see, what kind of clutch do we have? We have a fluid driven thermal fan clutch on this. So as it heats up, the fan is kicking in more and more, dropping the temperature. But at idle for the first few minutes, it was up there in the 224 psi. He has, most likely, if this clutch has never been replaced, he has a weak clutch. And so let's go, let's take a look at temperatures. Stop looking at the pressures. Let's take a look at some temperatures going on here. So here we are on our high side. Where's our compressor? I cannot get down at the compressor, so we're going to take the temperature of the compressor way up here of the discharge gas. So let's go right there. I wonder if I charged up the battery on my thermal imager. We might take a look at that too. Okay, so we're getting up to 150 some psi degrees. Gotta stop saying psi. PSI is a bad thing on cars. On all even getting into commercial and residential with variable displacement compressors, guys got to stop thinking of PSI. That old school stuff has to stop. No more beer can cold. Okay, so we're beer can cold here, so we're good to go. No, actually we're not beer can cold here. We're rather just cool. And coming from the rear, we're colder coming from the rear than we are the front. So here's the front, there's the evaporator right there, and here's the line right here. I'm taking temperature and I'm grabbing right here, and this is the line from the rear right here. This is the rear line coming right here. This line comes up and down an evaporator, and it drops right into here, and that's that rear line. So the two lines go together, and then they come here, and let me see if I can follow them. Yeah, it goes over there to the compressor. So the suction line returning back to the compressor, the superheat would be rather high. We'll take a look at the numbers and see what it is. Get my hand. This is the suction line. Yeah. Okay, let's look at the superheat, see what that number is. So our superheat is 31 degrees superheat. And how could we have minus? I must be, did I go back? What the hell? No? Something's messed up there. Okay, we'll figure that out. We have a negative subcooling. Okay. All right. So we'll look into more into that. And oh, that is hot. 166 degrees. So if it's 166 degrees here, I bet you if I hooked up to the metal line coming out of the compressor, it's probably say 170, not quite 75, 173, 170 at the other end of this rubber hose. So we're up there in temperature, and the ambient temperature is cool, and the fan is blowing really good. So that's our liquid line that's our compressor discharge. I'm looking at LLT because this is supposed to be, oh, that's why brain dead. Okay, I'm being Homer Simpson here. Let's take a look at our subcooling. Let me get it off of the discharge line. That's what was happening. And let me get it on to the liquid line. I'm looking and I'm talking and not paying attention to what I am doing. Let's see if I can get a hold of, okay, these two lines right here. These are if I don't talk too fast, I think I'm paying attention. These are the two liquid guides going to the front and the rear evaporator. They come here, they go down. There are these two lines right here. They're coming forward. You can see they connect. You can see the two lines right there for the front and rear, and then looks like they join from one right there, and you can see the fogginess and the bubbles inside the sight glass right here. So let me get the temperature off of this line going down. So we're going after the temperature. Okay. Now you're going to pay attention to the temperature before and after I do a recharge, and figure that there's no airflow issues. So this is the temperature where I'm taking it. I'm taking the temperature right off of the bottom. This is the liquid line coming out, and you can see where the pressure switch is, and it goes into those two lines. It splits in. It goes in and then splits out as two, so it could go to the front expansion valve and the rear expansion valve. And I'm doing a visual right now on with you guys. I'm looking for leaks. I'm looking for really obvious signs of oil stains. I'm looking for the big stuff. I'm going for the low-hanging fruit right now. Visually, from front to rear, we're doing okay. We got what I would call a fairly good airflow going on right now, because the fluid, the thermal fan clutch, the bimetallic has gotten hot. It shifted open. It closed up the ports to make the fluid, like a transmission clutch, grip more one-to-one with the engine RPMs, and so now we have flow. So and here comes water. We got water coming out the bottom. Now they were complaining it was coming out their feet, and we will believe them. But right now, it is it's collecting. It hasn't hit the floor yet. There's the water. That's how it should be flowing. Okay. So we're going to leave this run for a long time, and I'm going to do a recovery, and I'm actually going to weigh the refrigerant because they could be low on refrigerant, and because of the low ambient temperature, the low sun load, I could get perfectly good like 39 degree, 40 degree temperatures coming out of the dash with say 3/4 of the charge. And that'll make a lot of ice, and that'll make it start to make a lot of condensate under there. As you've seen my videos before with systems that only had 1/2 the charge, 1/4 the charge, literally put 39 degrees out of the dash, have condensate coming out, but yet they were 1/2, 1/4 charge, low on refrigerant. So all those things like cold temperatures and condensate doesn't mean you're charged correctly. Feels really good right here. Oh my God, that feels good. Okay. Can I just perform the rest of my video and just stand right here? Because I feel like I'm in Las Vegas, sitting under the air conditioning. All right, I'm gonna kill this video right now. I'm gonna pull out the refrigerant, weigh it, and I'm gonna show you how much refrigerant I pull out of this thing. Okay, there's our liquid line temperature coming out of the condenser. This is the temperature coming out. This is our suction line temperature coming out of the front evaporator. We're just hitting 70 degrees in the front evaporator. Let's go to the rear evaporator. Okay, the rear evaporator is this guy right here. That's the rear evaporator right there. Suction line temp, 78 degrees coming from the rear evaporator. Of course, you look at the superheat. Look at our subcooling. Okay, that's the superheat for the rear evaporator. You see that temperature right there? 79 degrees, 42 degrees superheat. Now let's go to the front evaporator. I need you guys to kind of grasp this a little bit. Okay, let's see if I can go right there. Now I got radiant heat coming off that exhaust manifold, and that's not good for my sensor. That could skew me a little bit. And look at our temperature on the suction line dropped, and so did our superheat. So we're going to make a comparison before and after. And before I recover refrigerant and after I recover refrigerant, and we're going to return to these temperatures. Forget the pressures. Let's just totally screw the compressors and throw them out the window, and we're going to just dwell on temperatures only. All right.